Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Psychic Hour, our Friday show. Hello. I'm in Illinois broadcasting, so a little bit different background, but it's fun. It's different. And again, the week has gone by like a bolt of lightning. I'm down in Illinois. I'm celebrating like family, and it's been great to see friends as well. It's just really nice. I'm able to come back to Illinois, where I grew up, about twice, maybe 3 times a year, sometimes if I'm lucky. And I just try to cram everything in, like family, friends. I'm celebrating my mom's birthday, so it's really nice staying up late, talking to friends and family. It's really heart opening. It's really special. It's really nice. And so please, everybody, come on in. Hello, Tracy. Hello. Every time I see your name, Bushido, I go, it's Bruce. So hello, Bruce. And hello, Pamela. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming in, and please pop down your questions. Pop down your birth dates too. In about 10 minutes, we'll be doing readings. So just put down your day, your month, and your year if you can. And if you're in the UK or Australia, please just write out your month, because in America, we do month, day, and then year. And then in UK, they do day, month, and then year. And so it's funny. It's like something I always just have to like talk about every once in a while, because you can have actually a slightly different reading, and we don't want that. We want accuracy. So yes, thank you, Andrea. Exactly like that, writing it out. I appreciate it, because this time frame, it's wonderful. It attracts people from around the world. It's 1 p.m. here, but it's I think it's like evening. Yeah, it's evening over in the UK, and in Australia, I think it's like morning. So it's like actually a decent time frame for a lot of countries, even though it's just the afternoon in the Midwest and in also California, from where I am living currently. So that's why. And Pamela, thank you. Yes, Pamela, for putting down, it was born in Illinois. There's a lot of Illinois connections. For some reason, I just bump into so many people who were born in Illinois, family was raised in Illinois. Father, worked in Illinois, so they, were there for a year and then they moved around. It's so interesting. Illinois connects to a lot of places and spaces, or maybe I'm just the one that finds people from Illinois. I think it's more than that, though. Okay, cool. So sounds like you can recenter in Illinois with family. Yeah, absolutely. Recentering here for sure. And that's like a blessing. I've lived in California for, 8 years? And I think it takes a while to recenter in various ways. You might feel like, great, I moved out, I've, found my space, my place, but, you go back and visit family, and then you're only there for like a week, and it's just like, it's hard to recenter. And sounds kind of funny, but after 8 years, I do feel like a great recentering. I feel like, I don't know, I can like juggle it and not feel like, oh, like I better catch up with my life when I get back to California, or I got to catch up with my life when I come to Illinois. So it is a great recentering, Pamela. Absolutely. It's been really, really nice. Sometimes it takes a year or 2 or 8 to feel recentered, sometimes even in just something as wonderful as family and friends, but here we are. Okay, so everyone, yeah, pop down your questions. You can wait to ask your questions too, but the ones in the beginning, I usually take a handful of questions in the beginning always, that people have already popped down. And then as the show starts ramping up, then I start just taking whatever I feel, wherever I'm drawn to, things of that nature. So, and you can ask one specific question. You can ask a general question. You can even just pop down your numbers and I can just do a general read, and that's how it goes. Yeah, yep, thank you. Yep. The more you specify, yeah, of course, don't tell me too much information if you want a reading per se. That's always something I think we should share. I actually don't talk about that much because people are really good. People are really good. They don't just share their life story and then ask for a question about it. But yep, as long as you go, I'm looking for a general, I'm looking for a career, I want to ask about my job that's coming up, or I'm worried about, let's say, a family member. That's specific enough and general enough, and that's beautiful for a single question reading. Or like Pamela, curious where I could be looking for new money flow. Yep, like a question just like that. Those are perfect. And so I'll be either doing the numbers or pulling some cards or doing both. And it's a really, really nice way to just connect to energy, and just, this is just me telling you what I sense and feel with, like, what makes me a psychic, okay? And so my biggest thing is these abilities are all inside of us. Being a psychic, being a medium, it's all inside of us. And being a psychic is just about decoding energy, whether it's with people, environments, and you know, we can co-create really with the environments around us. And that's why, like, things like cards are so powerful, because there's people who have created cards. Like, I've been liking to show these lately because I'm actually doing a card creating class. These are index cards with symbols. Like, it's just you don't need it to be fancy. You don't. And I think, Tracy, you asked me, like, how long did it take to make these? And honestly, if you wanted to sit down in one day, you could make them all. I think, like, you want them to all have meaning, so you should go as fast or as slow as you are connected to with your truth and meaning. And every card has a symbol, colors, or a series of pictures, has, for me, like, quotes. And so they have to have a lot of meaning, the cards. And that's how you connect to how you receive guidance within the cards. And you just practice and you practice. And so, yeah, like the deck that I use, I started it in, like, really on the fly, but for like a workshop that taught others how to create cards. Um, because sometimes I would make like little cards and symbols for myself on the side, but I wouldn't really keep them, because I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna make like a deck, right? I didn't envision it quite like this, but I was like, yeah, sure, whatever works. And that's what happened to work. And that's what became my deck, besides some other decks that I do use that are more official. And yeah, so I created this deck, the start of it, and it was only 4 cards. And I would mix those four cards in with my other deck. So a lot of times I was using like Lisa Williams cards, or Colette Baron Reid's cards, like various decks. And then I was using like a form of like angel cards too. And so I would use the traditional deck, let's say Lisa Williams cards, and then I would just take those 4 cards, shuffle them, and only pick 1 of 4. And they would be like an important theme. And they were like overseeing themes, right? So they really could connect beautifully with, like, kind of honing in on where someone needed some guidance, right? And so I just started with those 4 cards, and that was 2017. No, 2018. It was 2018, forgive me. 2018. And then I just was teaching more people about creating their own cards. And every time I would do an exercise and create cards with another person, I would add either 1 or 2 more to my deck. And so, yeah, it's like quite a few now. And so literally this was not all these cards. I'm trying to think if I even did one on my own, but all these cards were created with another person present where they were creating cards too. So it was really like, for me, like, it doesn't need that, but it was a very like synchronistic and special event because I was inspired to create one card at a time while someone else was creating one card at a time. And it wasn't like, okay, you create one, I create 5. It was like, we're going to create one together, just keep going. And then we talked about it, we learned about it. And so, yeah, like the accumulation of, different people. And I have memories of how I created cards with other people. We created totally different cards. Like, it would just be like, all right, we're going to be inspired, and then we'll talk about what we create afterwards. And then we're going to try to use them afterwards. And that was really how it went. So yeah, like this is like this deck is really an ode to all my students. And yeah, the first cards in these deck were created in New York, and the majority have been in California. And maybe just I should add, some Illinois cards to the deck actually in honor maybe even of today, because then this deck will have been created in New York, California, and Illinois. So we've hit every kind of major area in the United States. So maybe that, being with all of you, maybe whenever I'm in a new country or a new state, I should whip out a new card. And it's just like, that's what makes, again, you don't need rules like that. You really don't. But that's what makes things special, Like it gives you, there's so much emotional connection within this deck of how it's traveled with me, how, it just represents like lessons and people, and just out of pure inspiration it's born. Why not like whenever you do something special you create a card for yourself, right? Hello from Minnesota, hi back from Illinois, California and Illinois, but I'm in Illinois right now. And then Janice is like, whoo. And I hope that's a good wow, right? Let's see. Hi, Sherry, and hi, Janice again. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate that. The station appreciates that. WLTK-DB. Yeah, there's so many great shows coming up. Speaking of, like, this is the Psychic Hour. The Psychic Hour on Wednesday is an interview series where we have fantastic, fantastic people that we talk to and we learn about their lives. And there's always that intuitive connection because it's the Psychic Hour. And then Friday is the reading show. And there's a whole bunch of new shows coming up with WLTK-DB. And some of the hosts have been a part of featuring the guests that are now hosts themselves. Like, Diette had me on her show, and I was looking to do a show of my own. But just like, I was like, does the timeline fit in my life? And then Diette had me on a couple times, and I was just like, this feels really good. There was the birth of my show, and I've had a couple guests, Diette's had a couple guests, and they're gonna be having their own show. So it's like there's no, that's what I'm trying to say with the cards, with the shows. If you're on your path, if you are committed to working hard and you really care about what you're doing, there's no separation from one person to the next. It's just truth and dedication. And in your heart, does this feel like the right place? And your heart really does have to be open, and it has to be a little bit vulnerable in the name of surrendering and faith. So you don't put yourself in vulnerable situations. No way, no how. It's just you open your heart and you surrender and you go, I think this is the right path for me. This is scary, so I'm going to open my heart, and maybe I'm going to create a deck, right? Maybe I'm going to have my own radio show. Maybe I'm going to go and read for other people. I'm going to step out into completely different energy. And it really takes your heart opening up to do that, because the reason we haven't done a lot of things is because we're protecting ourselves, or other people try to protect ourselves, or other people had a certain, thought of a way of being, a certain belief, had a certain judgment, had a certain lifestyle where they said to us, or they showed us with who they were, this is what's average. This is what, normal people do, or this is what it means to have a good life. And really, we're all so different with what it means to have a good life. And so if you want to do something and it's in your heart, but you feel like it's a leap, just when you're ready, because hey, pushing yourself is great, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's not good to push yourself. When you're ready to make that leap, whether it's through pushing yourself or whether you're going, it's time. And you got to try, and you got to say it when you're ready, it's time, but you got to try. So regardless of if you're fully ready or not, you're going to push yourself a little bit, whether it's a lot of it or a little bit, you're going to have to push yourself, because you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get out of the norm. And you got to go to the other side, because you know I don't know, I don't know if, like, I'm just the same as anyone else. And all these people on platforms, like the huge names, like who are intuitives, like the ones that have best-selling books, they're all the same too. It's just they decided to do something a little quirky, a little bit different. They maybe have the gene for taking risks, or they did a couple risks that literally they're probably shaking as they were doing it, and they just started the process of doing something that most people aren't doing, and they just put one foot in front of the other and kept doing it. So it's a simple, I like this because a lot of kind of the big authors have card decks, which I think are great. Are you kidding me? Like, I want to celebrate that they've done that. um Anyone can create a card deck. It's just, yeah, like, some people are published, some people are with publishing companies, and their card decks are production. You need artists, and you need a bunch of other factors for it to come together, and it's a true production that should be celebrated. That's hard work, that's beauty. But anyone, these are index cards, they're just as effective. Anyone can do it. Anyone can write a book, right? It's a production still. It's a celebration, whether you're picked up by a publishing house or you've actually created the book. That's a celebration. Anyone can give a reading as long as they're in their truth. Anyone can give a reading as long as people are being authentic and they are connected. I'm telling you, anyone can do these things. So you just have to open your heart, and you have to just be honest with yourself. Am I in the right place? Am I in the right energy? Am I in my authenticity as I'm doing these things? And then there's that. The last point I'm going to make, and then I'm going to go into readings. I say that because I'm going to link this, like, to just so you can see it as just as simple as, this point is possible. Like, I love to cook. I do. I really do. I cook a lot of different things. It's something I'm really proud of. It's something that I think is an additional talent I have in certain categories, but anyone can cook, right? Anyone can cook. And on certain days when because I would say I'm more focused on being an intuitive than I am on cooking. That's where I've steered my life more, being intuitive rather than honing my cooking skills. And that's what I want for my life. That's what makes me happiest. It really does. And on certain days, I'm like, you know what? Let's go out. Let's go out to eat. Let's go out to eat. And instead of investing my time and my energy in cooking, I give that time and energy to myself, and I pay it forward, right? I find a place that I believe in. I know that sounds funny, but that's how I think with food. I find a place that I believe in, like any other service. And I go to that restaurant with my family, and we sit down, we go, you know what? I'm going to pay you and give you thanks for the wonderful energy and your skills of creating this gorgeous food. And instead of focusing my time here, I'm gonna pay it forward to you. And that's what it is like in anything. It's just like, we don't have to be doing everything. We're not made to be doing everything. We should be using our extra time and energy when we have it to create the life that we want to create. And we should be, once we start gathering resources, there's a certain time in life where we start to gather and expand and we can give back more, right? When we start to be able to give back more, and even if it's just $1 more, like you hand it off to a person who's helping you out and you say, thank you. Thank you. I can rest a little bit more and lean into who I am as a soul. And you've been helping me out. It's not much, but here you go. Thank you. Right? So think about all the things in your life you don't have to be doing that someone else could actually be helping you with. And steer your energy back into what you love, your authenticity, your truth. Open your heart, take a gamble. If you don't have enough time, start to really see how you can claim your time back. And that's the message of the day. I rambled for a little bit. All right, let's get into readings. Hello, Jessie Cat. Hello, hello. All right, I'm gonna get some water. Water is very important. All right. So from the top, let's see. Bruce is at the top. And even if I've done people's numbers before, like if there's a familiar birthday I see, like it's almost like my brain just resets every time I see the numbers. So I might actually say something similar because that's the energy within the numbers. Or I might say something totally different, okay? It's all about the energy present. So I'm just writing down some of the numbers. Life path, 5, 6. Okay, yep. And the question was, had a recurring dream about being chained to a huge tree. My shirt was torn and I was being whipped with a whip, leather whip with chips of bones in them. I felt no pain. Wow, interesting. Okay, yeah, like sometimes we have very out there dreams and we're like, whoa, we wake up and we're like, what was that about? And immediately when I see within what I'm reading kind of that dream to me is about perseverance. Again, this is just one take on the dream. And actually, the most powerful take on any dream is if someone can sit and meditate about the dream afterwards, because there's always some symbology when it comes to dreams, especially because dreams really deal with the brain working out the subconscious. And so the brain will use certain very integral symbols with the person's history and memories. And so a huge tree could be linked to a memory that, is very profound to you. Um, like, a leather whip could be linked to something you saw in a movie, and it's one of your, a really, again, a visceral memory when you were younger or seen in a movie, right? So there's with dreams especially. So dreams are still energy. It really is, but the most powerful interpretations come if you kind of start to understand symbology for yourself. So I'm going to give that first to you, Bruce. But the overlaying symbology that I'm connecting to is a dream about perseverance. And to me, like the huge tree, that's like, that's life. That's life. And you're chained to life, right? You're strapped into life and life is sustaining you. And even though life is, protecting you and life is holding you up, even though you're bound and these things are happening to you that should cause pain, you're persevering. You have no pain, even though you see the details of the leather and the bone. And you talked about, getting hit in the dream, and yet you describe, I feel no pain. And so that connects me to just like I'm going to keep saying that word perseverance, and that your mind keeping it strong, even though you're in certain circumstances where sometimes you feel like you're bound, like you don't have options, that you're tied down, right? And you're like, I need to break free, and you feel like you can't break free. despite what would be, I would imagine for most people, with just pure suffering, you're aware that the situation is bad, and you are aware that there's an element of suffering, but you persevere spiritually, and you're like, I I'm not broken from this. I don't like this situation. I don't want to be here. And I don't feel fully free. I don't feel fully in my power. But I know I still have it within me because I am beyond what is happening to me right now. And that's really what it is. We are beyond our circumstances. And sometimes we don't have as much free will in things as we would like with our current perception, with, let's say, things imposed upon us. But you can regain your strength and your mind is sharp, where if you just keep going, you can break free, right? You're not muddled, you're not overwhelmed by what is happening completely, because you, in the dream, with all those horrible circumstances, you were clear enough to feel no pain. So lean into that clarity and keep going. Keep going, because you have the strength of the tree, the strength of life on your side, and you have the strength of perseverance. So that's what I'm seeing. Gotta give that to you. All right, so a cycle 8. It's funny because the 8 connects to infinity, and sometimes the tree of life is connected to infinity. So very interesting. You're in a cycle 8, and 8 is all about, and I'm sure we've talked about this, but I'm gonna highlight it again. 8 is huge with tending to your body, making sure that your body is strong, making sure that your body is healthy. And it's really important during these cycles to find somebody that you believe in that can help strengthen and balance your body, whether it's a doctor. It doesn't even have to be a conventional doctor. It could be a doctor you're like, okay, that's the type of person I've never been to, and they're helping and healing people, and I think it's worth it to go look into that. Or strengthening your body with, physical exercise, diet, sleep. Like, this is the time to really tend to your physical body and understand where you're at. And if you're strong with your body, then you can continue to sharpen your mind and your will, and you can go after what you need to go after. And honestly, you can get it based on just where your energy is. You have to have foundation, and 8 is like, if you have a good foundation, you can get exactly what you need. So it's all about making sure that your foundations are set, and those foundations come back to your physical body when it comes to an 8 number. Really does. 8 is all about truth. So where are you at so you can go get what you need? You're a very, very sensitive person. So really, this is important for you to check in with yourself on these levels. All the numbers that I'm seeing for you as well are these numbers that need to go slower. Okay, so I'm talking about your energy is about really like changing your life, going, affirming who you are, like getting your resolve up, and just having this confidence, and making it happen. And please know, when I say these things, they can happen. They can happen quite quick. They can happen quite beautifully. But I want you to, listen to this piece that I'm saying. All the numbers that I see, the energy of your life is meant to go at a slower pace than others. And it's because when people have a lot of 8s in their chart, or even 2s, because you're like a 2, 8, 8, okay? What's going on is they are made to be leaders. They're made to see the world in a different way. They're very, like, you're very detail orientated. Okay, so you see a lot of details, and since there are so many details, if you're looking at something, you're going to be looking at something longer than another person. One person might see, let's say, a big picture or one thing, and they go, great, cool, I saw that, that was amazing, and they keep going. Like, just think about being in an art gallery, right? They're just like, okay, from picture to picture, that was cool, that was cool. But the person who's really locked in, especially, like, is passionate and is stimulated, and again has this additional power seeing the details, they could look at one painting for 30 minutes and they're not even done. And so they will naturally take longer because they're absorbing more information. Their intelligence is being stimulated. They're like, oh, this and this and this and this. And so they need to go at a slower pace. They're actually made to help others, and they're actually made to counsel others and teach others, right? But sometimes they're like, well, if I'm made to do that, like, why do I go slower than everybody else? And that's really frustrating because, society almost makes us think that the fastest people, like the fastest people are sharp, and the fastest people then, they grab first, and, they're able to assert themselves, and, the, you know, they must be on top then because they were able to have that agility and grab it first, and they just like could figure it out with that speed. And not everyone's energy works that way. And in fact, a lot of the leaders of the world, not all the leaders, but a lot of the leaders of the world have to go at a little slower pace. It's just they've built up such a consistent way what they work. It looks like they have strong momentum, but really they're being diligent and consistent, and they actually go at a slower pace than you might expect. So I want to give that to you. Do not put a timeline in yourself until more things come together. And know that your milestones might be at a slower pace, but it's because you're getting things together, and you're getting the perfect things together for you in your recipe. And so I just want to give that to you. Like, the last thing I'll say, because I think this is just so important, Bruce, is, I have a lot of numbers that go slower too in my chart. Okay. And if I go too fast, like if I try to put pressure on myself, or if I see a plan, I'm just like, I'm going to go do that. I should do that. Let's try to figure out how to do that. Let's make some calls. Let's make it happen. Let's go. What happens is I get profoundly stressed out, I get unbalanced, and I get very anxious. And I don't feel like then I'm in my power to truly perform to my highest extent. And then I just have to back it. I have to back it up and take care of myself. And so just it's all about taking care of yourself. It's all about taking care of your body. It's all about learning about your energy. And then you can actually be quite masterful. So I want to give that to you. Okay. All right. So let's go to Andrea. Andrea, and then she asked for a general reading, I believe. Oh, Andrea, I'm just trying to find all of her. I think she did. Yeah, I don't see a question. Andrea, if you're still on, if you have a question, you can pop it down, but I'm going to give you a general read. Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. I see. She asked for a general read. So February, okay. And then just added everything up. Okay. Yep, just double checking the math. And yep. Okay. So, Andrea, there's always a theme when I do these shows, and Andrea has a lot of the numbers that need to go slower too. And so I'll talk about this more. Anytime somebody has 2s and 4s or 8s, so it's the 2s, the 4s, and the 8s. If you have 3 or more, this heavily applies to you. Even if you have 2, it applies to you. If you have them in important placements like the attitude number, the life path number, or the soul number, or even the personality number, it more so applies to you for sure. Those are very important numbers in numerology. And what happens is the 2, the 4s, and the 8s, they're known as the business numbers or the balance numbers. So they are in charge of making sure people or the energy of things are balanced and efficient. So they have these natural barometers inside of them, the way that their energy works, where they can sense what people are feeling, how environments feel, just more deeply and quicker than other people. Just like you know, like how some people just naturally kind of just have something at their disposal. So anyone can develop this. It's just the twos, the fours, and eights. And the more that they have in their chart, the more that they can tap into feeling the energy of people in spaces. I hope that makes sense. And so this is very subconscious for people who don't realize they have intuitive abilities. And what happens is sometimes randomly they can be like, I don't feel good, or I feel anxious, or wow, the energy in here is really great. You know, they're very empathic, and they don't understand why they're feeling what they're feeling. Or they don't understand why, let's say, they get so drained sometimes when maybe they're doing everything that anyone else is at, you know, the event or the gathering, or and it's odd because the way that they feel and sense things is not connected to where their mind is at. Like their body is doing things independently of where their mind is. So they feel kind of scattered or disconnected. And really what they're connecting to is something that is not themselves. Um, the two and the fours and the eights have very psychic energy, and the twos have predominantly psychic energy. The twos are the heavy hitters when it comes to like connecting to people. The eights are very heavy hitters when it comes to the spaces of places. And the fours are heavy hitters when it comes to if things are in order, like if something's kind of off. They're like, the energy's not efficient here, right? You know, just like the energy of how things are conducted in places. But the twos are the most empathetic because the twos deal the most with people. Okay. And so anytime I see someone having a life path too, and so Andrea, your life path too, you have to really, really, out of all the numbers in numerology, and especially in this placement, you have to really take care of your sleeping and your diet more than the average person, because your body can get more stressed quickly because you are basically 24/7 empathetic. Um, and also like you're a personal day too, so people understand quite easily that you are sensitive or that you're overtly kind in some way. They get this impression from you. And so people do trust you quite quickly, but at the same time, you have to draw boundaries to make sure that people know that you know you're soft, but you're strong, right? You're sensitive, but you are highly capable. And so letting people know that you have the strength about you too as well, because that too comes with a softness and that personal day number. Like people kind of might go, oh, she's down for anything, right? She seems so nice, she's down for anything. So what's nice about two as well, your attitude is a four. And so the four is really well organized. The four has a really consistent pace, and that's really good for maintaining your balance, because your balance does get off thrown very easily. And so my advice to you is the two, fours, and eights numbers are really good with healing, really good with psychic energy, and really good with healing. So if you are ever interested in learning more about health, whether it's herbal or even more in the energy sphere like Reiki or even psychic development, it will help you learn leaps and bounds about your own energy, and you'd be naturally so good at it that you'd have fun with it, and you could actually share the wealth with other people. And a lot of people would be like, whoa, like, you know this? Like, yeah, I've been thinking about that too. But like, you would just bridge the gap for so many people. And I just want to give that to you with how your energy works and what I think you'd be fantastic in. Okay. And so some of these readings are talking about someone's energy, and some of these readings are more going into people's life circumstances too. So I just want to let you know the different kind of readings that I do on here, because maybe you might kind of be more curious in your life, or maybe you do want a dinner reading and I'm talking about your energy. Okay. And then Pamela, did you put your, yes. Okay. Pamela, let's do your numbers. Okay. And okay, that's right. Just doing the math. Yep. Okay, so Pamela, now we're going into different territory. Pamela does well with going fast. Let's talk about the flip side of it. Pamela has 2 5s and a 3, and all those numbers, they're live in the moment numbers. They get their best ideas on the fly. They find themselves in random situations and they're like, wow, this is the person I needed to talk to. Wow, like actually this turned out better than I expected. I'm having a blast. And so not only is like kind of the chaos that doesn't completely feel like chaos, but it feels like a welcomed surprise, or we'll get from A to B. No need to plan. It will happen. Not only does that work so beautifully with her numbers, but that's actually how it works best. When 2s, 4s, and 8s plan, they get success. When 5s plan, the plan will never stick. The plan will always change. Maybe the plan makes you feel better for 5 seconds, but that 5 energy goes, plans have changed. Actually, we're doing this. So, and that in the moment, just magic is where all the goodies are. So, again, certain numbers work and showcase and give entirely differently. Okay, the 5 is not made to always sit in the details. The 5 is made to keep going. The 5 is made to have variety. So anytime I see someone having an attitude number 5 or a life path 5 and you have both, they're made to have multiple jobs. They're not made to stay in one career or even in one field. So it's okay that you're hopping around, and it's okay, and it's good for you. It's incredibly good for you. And 5s, if they don't do that, they will get bored. They will get bored, and the border they become, the more unproductive they become. And 5s, again, they're made to go fast. They're actually highly productive individuals, and they can get a lot done in a short time because they get these bursts of energy. Okay. And so if you're not getting these bursts of energy, inspiration, your production and your enthusiasm are in the pits because you're bored. So that's your sign. If you're bored, you got to fix something. You got to fix something. We're like, whoa, time to redirect, time to reconfigure the compass. Okay. And so you're asking about where I could be looking for new money flow. Well, I kind of answered your question. It's time to change course yet again. You can't stay where you are. As soon as a 5 gets bored, there's stagnant energy. And if there's stagnant energy, then there isn't the abundance. It's time to change your job. Okay? So that's the immediate answer. Let me see. I'm gonna pull some cards. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So, like, actually, I think you already have an idea where to go. This is not like a quite as open-ended question as you're asking me. You actually have ideas of where you need to go. And I know within you that yes, most people who come on shows like this asking for questions, they believe in spirit, they believe in God or a higher power, right? That's why they're interested, right? With stuff like this, but it lets me know when I tune into your energy and pull some cards that you have a strong spiritual force inside of you. You have like this compass already that guides you, and you have this intuition where you're like, okay, maybe I should do this, maybe I shouldn't do this. Okay, I'm more guided. You have that feeling, you have that inner sense at times that has worked before, and so you do have some type of direction within you. And it's talking about refocusing the mind. Okay, refocusing your mind. And like sometimes when we're like, again, we're not happy or we're overwhelmed, or we're not, just like the enthusiasm for life is not there, we kind of get like, we like check out because we're like, ugh, life, right? Ugh. This is not what I want. And it's telling you to refocus, reset course, to breathe, take care of yourself, get your mind and your will aligned. You have some ideas. Let's lock it in and let's get down to business. Okay? It is time to change your job. And it's talking about how you can kind of, because of the of life, you've been a little bit disconnected from yourself. You have that spiritual force inside of you. You've had experiences. That is something within your life, but you've been disconnected from yourself. You haven't been checking in with yourself. You haven't been setting your course. You've been not as attentive to that spiritual side of you as of late, and that's why, you know that's mirroring with what's going on in your life. Like, as soon as you're checking with yourself, you actually reinvigorate your ahas and your eureka moments, and it takes away some of the mystery of, what am I going to do with my life? If you're checking in with yourself, you're giving yourself actually some of those active answers. Spirit is working with you. But ultimately, it's about having a good time. Okay, so actually it's about enjoying the summer. It's summer right now, but also enjoying this phase of your life. This next phase, this next job, it has to feel like it's summer. It has to feel like I actually get to relax here. I'm not busting my butt. I'm not going 100 miles per hour, but I'm happy here. I like where I'm at, and it actually feels so good that with this job that I'm picking, it doesn't quite feel like I'm working the same way that I have in prior jobs. It doesn't. Okay, so for this phase of your life, go for something that is exciting, that when you show up to work, it makes you feel like you're not working. If that is a little bit of a slower pace of a job, then so be it. Or if that's like something that you're just like, I've always wanted to do this, like, this is simple to me because I'm so happy. Okay, there's a simplicity about this, whether it just makes 1,000,000% sense and it just feels so in flow, or you feel like you're just not as working at that high, bam, bam, bam level as some of the previous jobs. There's something more effortless about it. That's the keyword, effortless. So get into that feeling while you're looking, get into that feeling while you're searching. Something's coming up for you pretty quick. You just have to refocus the mind and get connected to your spiritual self again. You really do, because that's what's kind of missing while you're looking for this new job. The last thing I'm going to say is, so you're in a cycle of 2, and the cycle of 2 is actually quite difficult for the numbers that you have. The cycle of 2 is all about taking this year to really, truly understand your emotional state, your emotions, and to really pay attention to yourself. And that's part of the reason why you haven't been checking in with yourself as much, because things have been more emotional. But as soon as you do that, your entire state of being, like, we're going to go back to your emotions, your entire emotional state will actually feel like it's had a sigh of relief and it's had a congruency, and you're going to feel much more like yourself and much more focused again. So you really need either the additional help with somebody like a healer or a counselor, somebody guiding you if you feel like it's too overwhelming just for yourself to take on, because 2 is all about emotional energy and really taking that time to go in deep. And 5 is all about, I live in the moment. My emotions are felt in the moment. I don't got to dig deep. I don't got to look at the past. Like, let's go forward. So it's very opposite energy. So I can tell why it's a little bit more of a frustrating year for you, just based on those rules alone. And you're coming. The great thing is, in August you're going into like this mini new beginning, and that's perfect for redirecting and setting your course for your job. So 8's going to be a very different month for you. September is going to be a little bit difficult, heads up. And then we're going to come right back around into maybe the energy opening up again, being much easier in October. Okay, so next August, good. September, much more emotional again, much more, a little bit more difficult. And then October, the energy opens up. So whether it's August, whether it's October, get on that job, search, crack it open. Okay, Pamela, I hope that makes sense. Let's see. So true. Okay. Every 5 years, change of jobs. Interesting. Also, relationships. Cool. So there's change. Couple ideas. Not sure. Will pop up. Love the angels. Mind and will. Love that. I said that out loud today. Beautiful. What's my purpose now? You came right. Cool. Okay. Yes, student one. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much. Cool. See, yeah, write it all down. And also, you can look back at the broadcast, this replays, whether it's on YouTube, WLTK-DB, or you go back to like Facebook and watch it. It's in a lot of places where podcasted, you guys. So I'm a really detailed person, okay? Like I go into details, and sometimes I'm like, how much time am I spending? And that's because I have a 2. Like I'm a life tattoo. I have 2 8s. I have a 4. Okay, the predominance of my numbers are the balancing numbers. Okay, and the business numbers. What I talk about, I go slow, I go detailed, right? And so sometimes I say so much, or what comes out of me, they go, whoa, you're gonna have to take that back a notch, or I'm gonna have to write this all down. And the great thing is this is recorded every week. So yeah, just enjoy the moment, play it back, watch it back, and then you can write it all down. Okay. Thank you so much. All right, let's take all right. D. Where was Janice? Janice was next, I think. Let me look. I have to go scroll back to the top. Oh, Tracy. Tracy was next. All right. Tracy, let's see. You want to ask about your career. All right, and then it didn't come from forgery. Oh, interesting. Actually, you're asking a question. You said you talked about a tarot deck called the Ghost Tarot deck. It didn't come with a booklet. Found out they were a forgery. That's really interesting. I'm kind of curious about that. So I don't know. So it's interesting because I wanna give this. You talked about a booklet. I want to give this piece of information. You can still work with cards without a booklet. You have to be energetically connected to the cards. You have to actually like the cards. You have to actually feel like there's something that you can work with within the cards. Like for instance, the first deck I ever got, I saw it was actually called the Psychic Tarot, and maybe that's kind of why I was attracted to it on some level. And I'm a really visual person, and there was this like really beautiful picture on the deck, and it was like this feeling inside me. It's like it's time to take the leap, just buy the cards, and I just kept overthinking it. I just like didn't want to buy the cards, but I did. And so I was like, you know what, just sure. And I felt really connected to the picture, even though it said the Psychic Tarot. And as soon as I opened the cards, I was like, cool, all right, I think I was supposed to work with these and figure these out. I didn't really work with the booklet that much. I did really try, believe me, but once I started getting going and using them, I started just learning a different way. It's kind of funny though, because every time I'd use those cards, I'd be like, I know I'm supposed to be working with them, but I'm not really attracted to these cards. And so there was other decks that came out like to me and that I would work with going forward. And I liked them immediately a billion times more than my first deck of cards. I still have my first deck of cards. They're actually at the house in Illinois, where I am. They're still in my old bedroom. And I don't, I'm not attracted to those cards. It was almost like they were meant to light the spark, and that's it. And I just use other cards. Like I use other angel decks. Like I don't know. You have to really be connected to the cards, right? So everything serves a purpose, but in any kind of deck that I've used going forward, as soon as I'm comfortable with the deck, I never look at the booklet. And sometimes I do just out of curiosity, for further insight. And now the way that I work with cards, I never look at the booklet unless, again, I have some random curiosity, because I'm just like, I want to see what the author's vibe was. I want to see what the tarot deck creator's vibe was. Like, this is cool. Let's like, I want to read the book just because it's cool, not because I have to figure out the deck. So you could technically have a forgery of cards, and as long as they're cards, as long as they're not just a bunch of blank sheets and there was like an empty deck or whatever, as long as there's pictures and there's words on those cards, they will work as long as you are connected to them. Like, you don't need a booklet to show you the way. The booklet can help guide you, but they don't have to show you the way. Just like you don't need a teacher to learn how to do psychic mediumship. As long as you are true, connected, and authentic, you don't need someone to guide you. Spirit's going to guide you. Like, Spirit's the ultimate guide, and Spirit's the ultimate guide. That's why they could guide you through whatever deck or whatever randomness that you come across. Like, you don't have to even use cards as your deck. That's why people use runes, they use stones, and they apply the same rules as the card deck when they read. That's why people, like, you can read anything. I'm not joking. That's how people read tea leaves. They read them like cards. Every leaf and configuration is like a card configuration. Right? You can read anything. It's crazy. Sometimes you need someone to help you to kind of show you that. Because, I mean, like, if you gave me just a bunch of tea leaves, I would be like, I've never done this properly. Can you just show me just an example for a hot second? And away you would go. I promise you. The last thing I'll say, see, I'm too detailed. I have this memory of this really wonderful medium. He was just this, he's still alive, really kind, gentle person. And he was kind of telling me this concept. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I know it's possible, but I'm not quite sure how to do it. And he's like, you can read anything. And he picks up this glass. And in this glass, he was drinking a beer. I think I need to drink some water for a second. Wow. Okay, that's better. So he was drinking a glass of beer, and the line of his beer, like, made a certain trace with the bubbles and the way that, the water starts. When you drink it, it falls away and it creates like this line, right? So it created this trace of the line of bubbles and where the beer was and how it sat. And he's like, I'm just going to read the line of these bubbles and I'm going to tell you about your life. And he did it and it was accurate. And then he's like, I want you to do it. So he takes the same glass, has me look in the glass, and I tell him, a couple sentences about his life, and it was accurate. And it was just using what was in front of me and tuning into the energy of it. Okay? So the cards are not what make this important. The booklet, this doesn't come with a booklet, are not what makes it important. I could pull the same card as someone else does, and if I'm in the energy of the card, it's going to be completely different reading. I'm going to see something completely different in the card. Like, this is spiritual force. Very simple. Very, very, very simple. It's a number. It's a word. It's a color. It's shapes. But if I look into that card, I'm going to see something different than someone else is going to see. Right? Spirit is guiding the way. And it's just a symbol to be worked with. It's not just a verbatim. And the booklet, a lot of people use this verbatim sometimes. And it's to be a guide. And at the end of the day, Spirit is the ultimate guide. So you have to transcend the booklet. Okay. I hope that gives some insight. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, if you're drawn to the cards, it doesn't matter if they're forgery. Like, you can still use them. Like, it doesn't matter if, let's say, you bought a certain deck and then a different deck comes to you and you're like, what the heck? Like, and I'm just using an example, like Amazon sent me the wrong deck. They're like acting like this is what I bought and it's not what I bought. If you happen to like the cards, they might be just as good or better, but you have to like them. If you don't like them, if you're not connected to them, then give them back, give them away, don't keep them. Okay. Oh my gosh, time is crazy the way that it's going. Um, okay. Jessica Lynn Adams, she said that she wanted a reading. Janice was asking, what are JCs? Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so we'll pull quick cards for Jessica and Janice, and then we'll go from there. Okay, Jessica. Okay, so Jessica, I'm seeing if you put down any numbers really quick. Okay, I don't see any numbers. So Jessica, what I'm getting for you, I got the compassion and feeling card. So you feel like a lot. You feel like a lot, and at certain points it can be overwhelming. And it deals with like people. Like I just feel like people really can ask a lot, can need a lot, and they will put you in situations where you're like, why am I here? Right? Like, it's almost like, again, that boundary line is not completely clear, and they will kind of ask things of you, and you won't say no, and you're just like you're pulled into other people, and you find yourself in situations where you're like, well, it was the right thing to do maybe, but like I don't exactly like where I am, and I wanted to be kind, and I actually like some of the people that I'm saying yes to, but again, I find myself in situations where I'm overwhelmed, and thus I'm feeling anxious much more often, and I'm starting to feel very drained from that. And that keeps being connected to multiple people is what's causing the drain. So, stepping away, taking more alone time, and doing things differently. You can still help people, but let's say you don't always have to be at their physical side. You can help them in a different capacity where you feel like you are caring and loving the way that you feel is right to care and love, but you're doing it in a way where you're like, "Ah, this works for me much better. And now I feel not as crazy inside, and I feel like I actually can tend to my day." Because when we get so mixed up with other people's energy, what happens is if we don't know how to let that go because we've accumulated too much and we become overwhelmed, then we're not even able to focus on our own life, even though it's right in front of us. It's like, again, keyword overwhelmed. Um, and this is all about like mastering yourself. Okay. It's like, this is the year of self mastery where you're taking steps forward, where you're like, I'm getting this together. I'm learning about energy, and I'm going to take things step by step where I go, this is what I'm working on, and um, this is making my life easier. So I'm learning, I'm paying attention. So I just want to give that to you because the dreams and the interests you have can come to light. And sometimes if there's difficulty and overwhelming energies involved, the only way it can come to light is if you step away and say, I have to do this differently. I have to learn about my life and reconfigure everything that I do differently so I can actually think straight, feel straight, and actually have a moment to think of my own thoughts and emotions. And then I can be me. And then actually, I can help people way more. So, all my love, my heart, my empathy actually works better if I reconfigure everything. And so that's where we're at the kind of the crossroads of that. And so keep going forward and keep reconfiguring how the way that you help people, because right now you're in the making of strengthening yourself. Okay, cool. Cool. And you do coffee ground readings. That is so cool. That is so cool. That is so cool. I love that. I've never done a coffee ground reading, but I give you kudos. That is awesome. And Jessica, you are, yeah, you're the attitude, you're attitude 9. So this makes perfect sense with what I'm saying. You can throw yourself into environments because, like, you're selfless. You're like, I should be helping, but it's complicating the time and energy that you have for yourself. And this is a year of really redefining that. And you're in a cycle of 6, and being in a cycle of 6, it's about really looking into family and friends and seeing who is relevant. And I say that in a sense is because, family and friends and the way that they need us or grow with us is different from, in a course of 5 years. I would say, like, people change in the course of 5 or 10 years, and sometimes they're not the same person that we knew or met or grew up with. And sometimes they're in a place where they don't want the same things as you want. They're on a different path. And that 6 energy is about really looking back um, at your own life and saying who really fits. Not that I have to, like, axe everybody, not that I have to, like, just, like, draw the line and be like, I'm never talking to you again, or I really don't want to talk to you for a little bit. Like, you don't have to do that. You just have to kind of think, like, who are the 5 people, maybe even 10, but I'll just do an example. Who are the 5 people that are really holding me up, or that are giving me love, or that I really connect to? And at this point in my life, like, who are the people that I really feel like are there for me and my friends and my family? And who are the people that maybe have been with me for a while, but right now they're really draining me and they're not making good decisions? And I feel like I need to just kind of make a little space from that, just be really clear with what the energy around me is and what I have closest to me. Okay. So that's really important to share. So start thinking about how you are connecting to people and elevating the way that you connect to people by leading the choices. You can be the leader of that energy. Okay. All right. And I'm going to just do a really quick one for Janice. Okay, she's asking about, forgive me, Janice, this is the last question. So I'm going to do, like, a more quicker read, but let me see, you're putting down birth dates. So I'm going to go off of your communications, right? You're 5 and a 4, a 3. Okay, so good. Your communications are, okay, 4. Okay. Just heads up, the way that you communicate, again, this is not a deal breaker, but I'm going to let you know the way that you and JC communicate is actually opposite. And I think that's really important to highlight. JC is a 3 with the way that he communicates, and you are a 7 with the way that you communicate. Those are opposites in numerology. So JC is very forthcoming. JC, if he's comfortable, he's incredibly chatty, and he can be quite interesting, and he's, like, kind of, he's good with, like, he can do quips and jokes and stuff. And absolutely, that's the potential with you too as well. But more so, I want to say, since you're a 7, you're more calculated and you don't always let people know what you're thinking directly. You're a little bit more mysterious. You don't show people your cards naturally. And so JC is more, if he feels comfortable, he's going to show you his cards. He's very forthcoming. You're more interested in what JC is thinking than telling you what you're thinking about JC. So I want to let you know that, that's not just with relationships and how you feel. That's how you are with, like, everything you're thinking and feeling. So I just encourage you to work with JC and let him know, like, hey, like, where are you at? Because he'll probably answer you, honestly, more so than you'd answer him. And you could actually draw a lot of information for him. And just be, if you feel comfortable, if you feel connected to JC, if you feel like you can let your guard around him, don't be afraid to share back how you're feeling too as well. But I would ask JC first, because I feel like he wouldn't have a problem talking about where he's at. All right, and so let's just take a card. And Janice, if you are by a future show, I'll make sure to do more of your numbers with JC, with how you aligned. I only just took one really quick. Okay, so I got the Master of Your Own Fate card again. So this is all about you taking the bull by the horns. If you like this individual, like, you need to spend more time with this individual. You can't overthink it. You can't be calculating like what day, how am I going to approach him? Maybe I shouldn't talk to him. Maybe I should just don't build a strategy on the way around the way he's acting. You don't have to tell him what you're feeling. But if you want to see him, just go and see him. Just be around him, and just be around him, or just talk to him. If you're just able to share some type of space, whether it's online or in person with him, you're going to see more and more just from the share of that, if you guys are a good fit, or if you can sense feelings on his part. Okay, like, sevens are very perceptive, so you're going to perceive things, and you're probably going to be right. And if you feel like you are, JC's probably going to let you know what he's thinking. Okay, he's probably going to let you know what he's thinking. He has 8. He has personal day 8, so he has stronger energy. And so he might seem like he wouldn't, let his guard down, but that attitude 3 actually shows me he would. Okay? So I'm going to give you that. And he's a life path 9. That's the last thing I'm going to say. He's a life path 9, so he's very compassionate around other people. And this is not a person, just based on some numbers, that is going to give you a hard time or be super mysterious with you. Okay, so I'm going to give that to you, and I hope that helps. Everybody, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor always to read, whether a little bit or a lot of it, for whatever numbers or feelings or cards that I put down for you. But thank you so much. I will see you next week, and we're going to be having Shelly Sanders on the show for Wednesday. She's a fantastic psychic medium. I'm honored to have her on, and we're going to be doing I think we might be doing a couple live readings too. I have to check back with her, right? But she's always game for it. So we'll have her on. We're going to talk about her life, and we'll see if we're going to do anything additional with that. And that will be for the Wednesday show. And then I'll see you next week for the reading show on Friday too as well. So thank you so much. And thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Janice. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Jessie Cat, bro. Jessie Cat's like the guardian of this forum. She's like, hey, that person's not, that person, heads up. So thank you, Jessie Cat. And thank you. I will see you in a little bit next week. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my time here in Illinois. So with that, go with love, luck, light, and don't forget to live, everybody. See you soon. Bye.